Everybody, let's talk about building psychological trust. And there's important behavioral science factors that go into building trust and credibility with your audience. And you can use psychology to do this, especially if you're going to launch a new brand or product. Listen, we have so many new brands and products out there in today's world. They're constantly being innovative. People switch their brand names. And frankly, there's a lot of lying in advertising. There's a lot of brands that overpromise and underdeliver. So conceptually speaking, and maybe actually objectively speaking, people lack trust in brands more so now than ever before. There's so many new brands out there, and especially if you're a high dollar ticket item, it's going to be incredibly important to establish trust for your brand if you're going to actually grow penetration. So I want you to think about 3 different social science ideas to help you build credibility and trust with your brand. Now, the first thing you want to do is think about 5 different social science-based cognitive heuristics. Some of these are going to be very natural for you to use. Some of them may be a little bit different, but the first one would be social proof. So if you can convey that lots of other people are, buying your brand, you can convey this feeling of trust. A second one is authority. If you have some sort of accreditation, or you've been certified, or you have a lot of big clients who use your brand that are, well-known clients, then that also is a way of establishing trust. A third one is similarity. Do your best to show that you have similar stories, a similar background as your customers. So using the same words that they use, the same vocabulary, having the same kind of lifestyle in your imagery, that stuff will again create a psychological sense of trust. A fourth one would be consistency. And consistency is really just simply do what you say you're going to do, and just do it, right? When you build consistency with people, then that also creates some psychological trust. And the last one is kind of one of my favorite ones. It's actually empathy. And empathy is when you can really communicate pain points for your customers better than they could. So really focusing on somebody's pain. And when you articulate their pain, their need, their desires in a way that they would use those natural words, then that's going to be a great way of you establishing trust. So those are 5 cognitive heuristics or triggers you can use to build trust. Now, a second way you can do this is actually link your brand to the aspirational goals of your customers. That's why we talk about how important it is to understand your customers' aspirational goals. Why? Because no behavior outside of a reflex behavior, somebody touching a hot stove, etc., every single behavior is towards an aspirational goal of some kind. So when you can link your brand with the aspirations of your customers, and you could say that by using my brand, I will help you reach your aspirational goals, regardless of the category you're in. When you can articulate that aspirational goal and say how your brand is going to help them get there, you become a trusted guide. And imagine like people are on this journey trying to reach their aspirational best day, their best self. And if you're the brand that can articulate that you are able to help guide them to get to their aspirational goals, you're going to be trusted. The third way you can do it is actually speak to the mind state of somebody when they're going to make a decision. So these mind states that we talk about in behavioral science are these moments in time when people are about to make a decision. Now imagine all the complexity of a decision. You have environmental characteristics, you have social characteristics, you have psychological characteristics. There's so much going on, and it's all subconscious. So with these variables, try as best you can to control these variables. And that's by understanding the mind state that somebody's in when they're making a decision. The mind state is simply understanding their goals, their motivations, their approach to decisions, and maybe any cognitive heuristics that they use to make a decision. When you take your communications and speak in the way that fits with this psychological mind state, you create this subconscious kind of similarity. You create subconscious rapport. And so it just makes you feel trusted because everything you're saying to them is intuitive to their subconscious. So guys, building trust isn't easy. I know it's not easy, but when you use best practices in behavioral sciences, whether it's cognitive heuristics and triggers, or maybe it's linking your brand to your customers' aspirational goals, or just speaking in a way that fits with their psychological mind state, you can create trust, you can create credibility, and that's the key component, especially if you're a high ticket dollar or a high ticket item, really expensive item. That's a great way to grow your customer base and drive penetration for your brand.